Everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us. And today we're tackling a topic that's, well, it's a bit heavy, but it's something we really need to talk about, and that's the really sharp rise in traffic controller and road worker deaths that we've seen in 2024. It's easy to just see these as statistics, but it's important to remember that these are people with families and lives that have been tragically cut short.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a deeply concerning trend, especially when you consider that it's happening despite, safety measures being in place.
So let's talk about those safety measures for a minute.
Yeah.
We have seen some positive changes in traffic control safety recently, right? Things that, like, in theory, should be protecting these workers.
Absolutely. There's been a real shift towards what's known as the safe system methodology. It focuses on trying to proactively minimize risk in work zones. So, for instance, we're seeing an increase in the use of remotely operated portable traffic lights. And this is huge because it keeps traffic controllers out of live traffic.
Yeah.
Drastically reduces their exposure to danger.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Getting them out of the direct line of fire, so to speak.
Exactly. And then you have the traffic light boom system,
Yeah.
the TLB. This is a really innovative solution that combines traffic lights with boom gates to physically separate workers from vehicles. It's like an extra layer of protection, right? It controls traffic flow more effectively, and it creates a literal barrier.
So it sounds like these are steps in the right direction.
Yeah.
But obviously something's still missing because we're still seeing these tragic deaths.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true. And to understand why, I think we need to dig into where the system is breaking down.
All right, let's unpack that then. What's going wrong?
Well, one major factor, and it's a big one, is driver aggression. It's shockingly prevalent, actually. We're not just talking about, the occasional impatient honk. Traffic controllers are dealing with verbal abuse, reckless driving near misses daily. I even spoke with one traffic controller who reported a driver intentionally swerving towards them, shouting threats as they drove by.
That's terrifying. It sounds like they're working in a war zone, not a work zone.
The psychological toll it takes is really immense. Imagine constantly fearing for your safety while you're just trying to do your job. That stress, that fear, that anxiety adds another layer of risk to an already hazardous environment.
It's just unacceptable. We've got to do better. But driver aggression is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
What else is contributing to this problem?
Another big challenge is inconsistent adherence to safety protocols. Think about all the signage we see in work zones: road work ahead, reduced speed limits, lane closure warnings. They're there for a reason. Yet so often drivers just ignore them, disobey them, and that puts workers at risk. It's a blatant disregard for safety guidelines.
It's like people just don't get it,
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't realize that their actions have real consequences.
Yeah, there seems to be a real disconnect there between the guidelines and what's actually happening on the roads, and that disconnect, unfortunately, is costing lives.
Okay, so we've got driver aggression and we've got people just not following the rules, both really serious problems. So where do we go from here?
Mm-hmm.
What needs to change to actually protect these essential workers?
Well, we need a two-pronged approach. First, traffic management companies, they need to really step up and take a hard look at their safety protocols. It's not enough to just, tick the boxes. They need to go above and beyond to make sure that their workers are protected.
So what does that look like in practice? Can you give some concrete examples?
Absolutely. So investing in cutting-edge technologies like that TLB system we talked about, that's a great start.
Right.
Prioritizing remote operation of traffic control devices whenever possible, that's another big one. And maybe most importantly, there needs to be a real cultural shift within these companies.
Yeah.
A recognition that the mental well-being of their employees is just as important as their physical safety.
Right. It's not just about physical barriers and hard hats. It's about supporting the people behind the safety vests.
Exactly. Providing mental health support like counseling or stress management training, that would make a huge difference. It's about acknowledging the unique pressures of this job.
You're right. And even with the best safety protocols in place, we still have this huge problem: drivers. And that's where the second part of the solution comes in. We need the government to step up and enact tougher legislation. So we're talking about consequences for those aggressive drivers, for those who just blatantly disregard the rules. What kind of legislation would actually make a difference here?
Well, we need to hit them where it hurts their wallets and their driving privileges. Fines for endangering road workers, they're often too low to be a deterrent. We need to see significant increases, maybe even scale the fines based on the severity of the violation.
Okay, so a first-time offender might get a hefty fine, Repeat offenders could face license suspension or even jail time.
Exactly. Make it crystal clear that endangering the lives of road workers is unacceptable. Right now, in many places, the legal consequences just don't match the potential loss of life.
Yeah, stronger penalties would definitely send a message. But isn't there also a role for education here? How do we get drivers to see those workers as people, not just obstacles in their way?
Absolutely, that's crucial. We need impactful public awareness campaigns
Yeah.
that go beyond just the typical, slow down for roadwork signs. What if we use campaigns that really highlighted the human side of things?
Putting a face to the statistics.
Exactly. Share the stories of traffic controllers, the families of workers who have been injured or killed.
Yeah.
Make people understand that those working in work zones are mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, friends.
Real people with lives and loved ones. That's powerful stuff.
Oh,
It would definitely make me think twice next time I'm approaching a work zone.
And we can even leverage technology here. Imagine using virtual reality to put drivers in the shoes of a traffic controller.
oh.
Let them experience firsthand the fear and the stress of having cars whiz by just inches away.
Wow, that's a great idea.
Hmm.
It would really make the risks more real, less
Yeah.
abstract.
We need to shift the perception of work zones from being inconveniences to being spaces where real people are doing essential and often dangerous jobs.
So it's about a change in attitude, a change in culture. But let's go back to the traffic management companies for a moment. What specific actions can they take,
Yeah.
beyond investing in tech and mental health support, to really ensure the safety of their workers?
They need to go beyond the bare minimum required by regulations. For example, implementing more rigorous internal audits of safety protocols. Are they truly effective? Are they being followed consistently? Are they keeping up with the latest advancements in safety technology? This needs to be an ongoing process of evaluation and improvement.
So they're not just checking boxes, but actively seeking out ways to improve and adapt.
Exactly. And let's not forget about training. Traffic controllers need comprehensive training on everything from risk assessment and hazard identification to conflict de-escalation. They are, after all, often the first point of contact for those aggressive drivers.
I hadn't thought about that. Being able to diffuse a tense situation could be crucial in preventing things from escalating. What about supporting the development of even better safety technologies? Do companies have a role to play there?
Absolutely. They can collaborate with researchers and technology companies, invest in pilot programs for new innovations, even offer their work zones as real-world testing grounds for cutting-edge solutions.
It sounds like we're talking about a much more proactive approach to safety, rather than just reacting to incidents after they happen.
That's the key. We need to shift from a reactive to a proactive mindset. Anticipate risks, implement preventative measures, constantly evaluate and improve safety protocols. That's how we create a truly safe working environment for these essential workers.
So you've painted a really clear picture of what needs to change,
Yeah.
both on the part of the companies and the government. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the human element again. These traffic controllers, these road workers, they're facing incredible pressure and danger every day. What kind of resilience and strength does it take to do that job?
You're absolutely right. These are incredibly resilient individuals. They're facing a perfect storm of challenges, dangerous working conditions, aggressive drivers, and the constant mental and emotional strain of knowing that their lives are at risk every minute they're on the job.
It makes you wonder what kind of support they need, not just from their employers, but from society as a whole.
We need to start by simply acknowledging their work, recognizing the vital role they play in our communities, and we need to move beyond empty platitudes and actually demonstrate our respect for their safety and well-being.
So how can we do that as individuals?
It starts with our own behavior behind the wheel. We need to slow down, pay attention, obey traffic control measures, put away the phones, avoid distractions, and be mindful of the fact that real people are working just a few feet away.
Right. It's about making a conscious effort to be more aware, more patient, more respectful.
And if we witness dangerous driving in work zones, we need to speak up.
Yeah.
Report it to the authorities. Hold people accountable. Don't just shake our heads and drive on.
Be an active participant in creating a safer environment, not a passive observer.
Exactly. We all have a role to play in changing the culture around road work safety.
Okay, so we've talked about individual responsibility, company responsibility, government responsibility. Is there anything we've missed? Any other perspectives we need to consider?
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge that this issue is really interconnected with a lot of broader societal challenges. Things like our dependence on cars, our fast-paced lifestyles, even our tolerance for aggression and disregard for
Wow,
rules.
that's getting really deep.
It is, but I think it's crucial to recognize that road safety isn't just a technical issue or a policy issue. It's a reflection of who we are as a society. And if we want to truly solve this problem, we need to address those deeper cultural and societal factors.
So this is about changing hearts and minds,
Yeah.
not just laws and regulations.
Precisely. We need to cultivate a culture of responsibility, a culture that values human life above all else.
Okay, so that's the big picture stuff.
Yeah.
But coming back down to earth, what are some practical steps we can take right now to make a difference?
Well, one thing everyone can do is stay informed about this issue. Educate yourself about the risks faced by traffic controllers and road workers. Share this information with your friends and family. And advocate for change.
Advocate for change. How exactly?
Contact your elected officials, write letters to the editor, support organizations that are working to improve road safety, make your voice heard, demand better.
Don't just be a bystander, get involved.
Exactly, and support companies that are prioritizing safety. Choose to do business with companies that are investing in the well-being of their workers, that are going above and beyond to ensure their safety.
So vote with our wallets, so to speak.
Exact. Every choice we make, every action we take can contribute to a safer future for these essential workers.
Powerful stuff, and I think it's a message that resonates with everyone listening. We all want to be part of the solution, not the problem.
I couldn't agree more. We all have a responsibility to make our roads safer for those who are working, to make them better for us.
So we've really dug deep into this issue, haven't we? And we've talked about the real dangers that traffic controllers and road workers face. We've talked about those systemic failures that are putting their lives at risk. We've also, looked at the technological advancements, the need for cultural change, and the power of just, individual action.
Yeah, it's a really complex problem, right? It demands a complex solution. But I think the main takeaway here is that we can't afford to be complacent. This isn't someone else's problem to solve. This is a collective responsibility, and we all need to step up.
You're absolutely right. We can't just, sit back and hope that things will get better on their own. So let's talk about action. What can our listeners do, starting like right now today, to contribute to a safer future for these workers?
I think it all starts with awareness. The more we understand the risks, the challenges, the human stories behind these statistics, the more likely we are to act. So, talk about this issue with your friends and family. Share what you've learned. Encourage them to be more mindful and respectful in work zones.
Spread the word, right?
Yeah.
Don't let this be a silent epidemic.
Exactly. And if you see dangerous driving in a work zone, don't just shake your head.
Right.
Report it. Hold those drivers accountable. Silence is complicity.
So be an active participant in creating a safer environment. But it's not just about individual action, is it?
Yeah.
What about those in positions of power, like the companies that employ these workers and the government officials who create the laws?
Yeah, you're right. Traffic management companies need to go beyond simply complying with regulations. They need to invest in cutting-edge safety technologies. They need to prioritize the mental health of their workers. And they need to create a culture of safety that permeates every level of the organization.
So it's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly. And when it comes to the government, we need to demand stronger legislation with real consequences for endangering road workers. Fines need to be significant enough to actually deter reckless driving. Repeat offenders should face license suspension or even jail time.
Yeah, make it clear that these actions have serious repercussions.
Exactly. And beyond stricter laws, we need to see increased investment in road safety infrastructure. Better signage, more effective lighting, physical barriers. These are all crucial elements in creating a safer work environment.
So it's a multi-pronged approach. Companies, government individuals, all working together.
And I think it's also important to remember that this issue is interconnected with these broader societal challenges. Our dependence on cars, our fast-paced lifestyles, our tolerance for aggression. These are all factors that contribute to the dangers faced by road workers.
Yeah, it's a sobering thought. But it also suggests that the solutions go beyond just, tweaking a few laws or investing in some new technology.
Exactly. We need a fundamental shift in mindset, a culture of respect, responsibility, and a genuine appreciation for the essential work that these individuals do.
It's about seeing them as people, right?
Yeah.
Not obstacles. As mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, friends. Real people with lives and loved ones who deserve to go home safe at the end of their shift.
Well said. And I think that's a really powerful message to leave our listeners with. Every choice we make, every action we take, can contribute to a safer future for these essential workers.
So slow down, pay attention, be respectful, hold others accountable, demand better from our leaders, and most importantly, never forget the human cost of this crisis.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope it sparked some important conversations and inspired you to take action.
Because together we can create a future where roadwork zones are no longer places of fear and danger, but symbols of progress, community, and collaboration.
A future where every worker comes home safe.
That's a future worth fighting for.